Oliver woke up to the sound of cheerful birds singing outside his window. Today was no ordinary day. He had packed his little blue backpack with crayons, a notebook, and his favorite red shoes because he was ready for an adventure. Oliver had always wanted to learn the alphabet in the most magical way possible, not just by looking at letters on a page but by living inside them, meeting new friends, and exploring wonderful places. As soon as he stepped out into the garden, a sparkling path of golden dust appeared before him. He took a deep breath, smiled wide, and followed the glowing trail. Suddenly, the path swirled and swished, lifting Oliver high into the air until he landed gently in a bright meadow. A soft voice whispered, "Welcome, Oliver, to the alphabet adventure." He looked around and saw a giant letter standing tall like a shiny red gate. Oliver touched the letter and it opened like a door. Inside he met an apple tree covered with shiny red apples. One apple rolled down and giggled, "Hi, Oliver. I'm Andy the apple. A is for apple." Oliver laughed and said, "Nice to meet you, Andy." Just then, an ant carrying a tiny backpack marched by, waving proudly. "I'm Annie the ant, always active." Oliver waved back and repeated, "A is for apple, A is for ant." He picked a juicy apple and placed it in his bag before moving forward. The path led him to a big blue letter B. The letter sparkled, and as Oliver stepped inside, he heard buzzing. A friendly bee wearing a tiny crown flew around him. "Hello, I'm Bella the bee. B is for bee." A little brown bear came tumbling out of the bushes, laughing. "B is for bear, and I love berries." The bear shared blueberries with Oliver, and he smiled, munching on the sweet fruit. Together they said, "B is for bee, B is for bear, B is for blueberries." Oliver walked further and saw a giant yellow letter C. As soon as he touched it, a cat wearing a colorful hat jumped onto his shoulder. "Hello, Oliver, I'm Kathy the cat. C is for cat." A cheerful carrot popped up from the ground, wiggling and smiling. "C is for carrot. Crunchy and cool." Oliver giggled, crunching on a carrot stick, and waved goodbye to his new friends. At the letter D, a friendly dog came running with a drum strapped to his back. "I'm Danny the dog. D is for dog and D is for drum." The dog played a silly tune on his drum while a graceful duck danced nearby. Oliver clapped and repeated, "D is for dog, D is for drum, D is for duck." He scribbled notes in his little book. The next shining letter was E. As he entered, a tall elephant raised his trunk and blew a gentle trumpet sound. "I'm Ellie the elephant. E is for elephant." An egg popped open beside Oliver and a baby chick chirped, "E is for egg." Oliver patted the chick and said, "Wow, learning is fun." And so the journey continued. At F, Oliver found a fox with a flute, playing soft music, and fireflies glowing around like stars. He repeated happily, "F is for fox, F is for flute, F is for fireflies." At G, he met a giraffe chewing green leaves and a goose honking cheerfully. Together they laughed and shouted, "G is for giraffe, G is for goose, G is for green." At H, a horse galloped by, and a tiny house stood with flowers all around. "H is for horse, H is for house," Oliver said, feeling proud. At I, he met an iguana resting under an ice cream cart. He tasted vanilla ice cream and grinned, "I is for iguana, I is for ice cream." The adventure grew more magical with every letter. J brought a joyful jellyfish glowing underwater, and a jar of jam that danced on its lid. J is for jellyfish, J is for jam. K showed him a kangaroo bouncing happily with a kite flying high. K is for kangaroo, K is for kite. At L, a friendly lion roared gently, "L is for lion," and handed Oliver a lemon. He tasted the sour fruit and laughed. "L is for lemon, too." At M, he met a monkey swinging from tree to tree while eating mangoes. M is for monkey, M is for mango. The adventure went on through N where he found a nest with baby birds, O where he met an owl and oranges, P where a penguin slid on ice and shared a pineapple, Q where a queen waved from her castle, and R where a rainbow arched across the sky with rabbits playing underneath. Oliver was amazed at every step. At S, a snake slithered by singing softly, while stars sparkled above. At T, a tiger played with a toy train, and tulips bloomed brightly. At you, an umbrella opened magically to protect him from a shower of unicorn sparkles. At V, a violin played by itself while violets danced in the breeze. At W, a whale splashed in the water, waving happily. At X, he discovered a xylophone that sang notes when he stepped on it. At Y, a yak with a yellow scarf nodded kindly, and at Z, a zebra invited Oliver to join a parade with drums, music, and laughter. Finally, Oliver stood at the end of the trail, holding all the memories in his notebook and his heart. He shouted proudly, "I learned the alphabet A to Z." The magical letters sparkled and rose into the sky, creating a glowing rainbow of letters above him. The voice whispered again, "Well done, Oliver. You've completed the ABC adventure." Oliver waved goodbye to his new friends and followed the golden path back home. As he opened his eyes, he was back in his garden, holding the shiny red apple from Andy. He smiled wide, knowing he had truly lived the alphabet, and whispered softly, "Learning is the greatest adventure of all."